Howdy, boys and girls. This is Kyle here. Just letting you know that about an hour and 13 minutes in, you're going to hear some weird audio abnormalities. We do apologize. It kind of sounds a little bit like farting. It's pretty faint, but it's in the background, and you can just still hear us talk quite nicely. So hopefully the next episode that won't happen. And yeah, enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of the Neon Crew podcast. I am Kyle.
And I'm Mac.
Hey, welcome. How you doing, Mac?
Boy, happy just to be here. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I'm happy that I could come get you. For those who are curious, right before recording, Mac sent me a text and was like, hey, 6 o'clock, 6:10, I'll be right over. And I was like, cool. And then I get a call at like 5:30. If you want to just take the story from here.
No, not much of it. I mean, I'm just relieved that I got here. Blew a tire about 100 miles outside of the hometown. So, little, I don't know. I'm not shook. I guess I was like in the moment. It's the most I've ever felt like a man and the least I've ever felt like a man, if that makes sense.
That makes sense because you had to put the spare on, so.
Yeah.
That's more than I would have been able to do by myself, probably.
I've done it a couple times, so I was good with that. But, I don't know, being 100 miles away from, and it felt like, sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
That's what kind of scared. I mean, you're just completely out of control. And if the spare tire blows, I don't know if it's like the real tire blowing. I've never had a spare tire blown on me before, so.
Yeah, because they're not meant for long distance. They're just meant to just basically bring you to where you need to get to so you can stop.
Seriously, I looked it up and the thing's like don't drive over 50 miles in 1 hour, and the thing's supposed to last a total of 70 miles.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so at 100 miles away, I felt like I was in Apollo 13.
Yikes. But yeah, I came and got you, and now we're here.
We made it.
Yeah. So before we begin, I have some movie news to share with you.
Oh.
And I hope you don't know anything about this. I want your genuine reaction because it's kind of bonkers, to say the least.
May or may not. We'll find out.
So do you know, a bit of backstory, do you know the animation company Illumination?
No.
They're the company that is responsible for making the Despicable Me movies, the Minions movies.
Oh, really? I thought that was always like Disney.
Life of Pets. No, it's not Disney.
Wow. So they're the third competitor in the market.
Yeah, they're like they're third place behind DreamWorks and Pixar.
Yeah.
Pixar, Disney. And their movies are not super known. Like, they're not known for being the highest quality. Especially when it comes to like the Minions movies. They
got a crowd.
It's kind of like the schlock of the animated world,
right?
At least the theatrical animated world. I almost said reanimated world.
That'd be bizarre.
That'd be the undead.
They're amongst us.
Mm-hmm. They're among us. There's an imposter among us.
So what's up with Illumination? What they do?
So Illumination is making a Super Mario movie. They've teamed up with Nintendo, and they're going to make an animated Super Mario Brothers movie that is coming out December of 2022.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's bizarre.
And what's really bizarre about it is that they recently had a Nintendo Direct a few days ago.
What it direct?
It's a
Nintendo directed something?
No. A Nintendo Direct is basically like a showcase of Nintendo games that are going to come out in the future. It's basically Nintendo's self-isolated version of E3. They kind of just make their own presentations. It's basically where they announce new games.
Sure.
And during that Nintendo Direct, Shigeru Miyamoto came out, he's the guy that created Mario.
Oh, okay.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah. He's still alive.
Yes. Yep. He's old, but he's still alive.
What to say?
And so he came out and basically said, I've partnered with Illumination and we're making an animated Mario movie. and here's the release date. And I watched this live as it happened, so I got the
crowd's reaction.
I got the fresh deal of it right from the get-go.
Okay.
There wasn't a crowd. It's like a video presentation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's like the difference between like the E3 stuff and Nintendo Direct.
I was about to say, I think there's like a summit. Every time I hear about like gaming news coming out, it's like everyone meets, and then he's like, "And are you ready?" And they draw like a curtain, and then it's just do.
Yeah. It's
that's Mario.
It's not like, I don't think it's actually live. It's edited for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like pre-recorded.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, if the guy's,
But I watched it when it was released and like going live, basically.
Right.
So he said that not only was there a release date for the movie, but he also said that there was a voice cast for the movie.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And the voice cast is interesting, to say the least.
All Brits.
So how much do you know about Mario?
How much do I know about Mario?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not to brag, but beat Mario 64. So
okay, so you know like a lot of the like popular characters, like the basic characters.
Yeah,
like
I was
Mario,
about to say,
Peach, Luigi.
Yeah,
Bowser.
Bowser.
Okay,
so you get Bomb in there. Was it Koopa?
Oh, you're going the deep lore.
Well, I don't really know how far it extends.
Okay,
like you could tell me that Mario 64 is like surface level, or you could say Mario 64 encapsulates the whole universe. I don't know. I just know I beat it. So like, that's my extent of my knowledge. So however far it goes in terms of that one is as much as I'll know about everything going on.
I could go on about Mario all day. It's probably my favorite game series.
Oh, there we go.
ever.
When we get our digital media platform going, the company, we'll have a Mario podcast.
You're right. Yeah, we'll have our own sort of thing. We'll have a Patreon for that too.
Yeah.
Eventually, we have to work on getting one for this. But so, do you want to hear the voice cast for the Super Mario movie that they announced?
Interested, because I'm in my head right now. I'm like, they're gonna either be way far off, or they're gonna go really racist.
Oh, racist.
Well, maybe not racist.
Oh, for like the Italian accent.
Yeah, kind of like. And I don't. You get a lower name guy in there that's like and it's not like he's acting as Mario. It's a voice. So the only thing you're really going off of is what was dubbed in the video games, right?
Well, wait till you hear this cast.
Okay.
So,
do I know these people?
yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you don't personally know them.
No,
At least I don't think
maybe.
so. Maybe.
6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
If you are, you're holding out on me for sure. The person who's voicing Mario is Chris Pratt.
Oh, I could have guessed that one.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I miss Chris Pratt. Parks and Rec was like his coming out party.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got into some of the Jurassic World stuff, and that's just when he just money bags.
Well, I feel like this news was especially relevant since we're going to be talking about the Tomorrow War soon.
Yes. So, but I'm not shocked that Chris Pratt's going to be.
It's so. I don't know. I'll get into it later, so I'll just read the rest of the cast.
Okay.
Peach is going to be voiced by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Oh, dude, she's a cutie.
She's been really up and coming lately. I wouldn't say up and coming. I mean, she's already established pretty much as a powerhouse.
She was in The Witch.
She was in The Witch. She was in Queen's Gambit.
Split.
She's going to be in that new Edgar Wright movie, Last Night in Soho. As like one of the main characters.
So she's got some range.
She's got some range, and I'm kind of surprised that they managed to grab her for this animated cartoon video game movie.
See, that's where I get into with actors, because I think that they are I think it's just taking a paycheck. Like,
probably the budget is for the cast list alone is probably insane. I haven't even read the rest of it, and like already those two names are pretty huge.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and her manager was probably like, take this role.
Her agent.
Yeah. You're gonna make $15 million sitting behind a glass window reading off lines.
Dude, this movie's gonna make money no matter what.
Yeah,
it's Mario. Everybody knows Mario.
Oh, that's what we should have, like a movie bet on this one.
Oh, how much money it's gonna make?
Yeah,
we could.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll bet a movie on it.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
We could do that.
We'll do that at the end.
Okay.
We'll tie it in with.
Let's wait until a trailer releases, and then we'll take guesses.
Sure, because I don't even know what.
Yeah, no one knows what the movie looks like.
No research either.
Yeah, no one knows what the movie looks like or what the characters are going to sound like.
God, nothing. They're gonna sound like themselves because they don't have to. Can you imagine Chris Pratt doing an Italian accent for 90 minutes?
I can actually. I can.
I'm interested.
So Luigi is going to be voiced by Charlie Day.
Oh.
Which is the one I'm the most excited about.
That's actually pretty, if you ask me, spot on
casting. It's kind of fitting, isn't it?
Right? Like it's, I can't even think of the term, what you call it, but I mean, it's like.
Because Luigi's already kind of neurotic.
Yeah.
That's the epitome of what Charlie Day is in Always Sunny.
Yeah. That's what I'm like. Interesting, because maybe if you did ask, like if Luigi were alive, he might not agree with all that.
If Luigi were alive, is he dead?
No, I'm saying like if it was a real person, like we only know Luigi through Mario's eyes, so Mario sees him that way. But like maybe Luigi's like this totally different person, and he's only neurotic because he has to save Mario.
I mean, I've played the Luigi's Mansion game, so.
So he is that way.
He's timid, but he's also the fact that he can overcome his timidness to save his brother is. Strong. In fact, arguably more brave than what Mario already does, because Mario is already established as being heroic.
That's what I'm saying. He's like
it's not an issue for him.
He's Samwise Gamgee.
Mm-hmm. Not only does Luigi have to overcome the obstacles that are already set forth in front of him in the game, he has to overcome the obstacles in his own mind.
Paying bills, college debt.
I mean, he doesn't have to worry about
running
bills.
The business.
He gets super rich after those mansions.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you play the games and you get to the end, it shows you how much money you get. And even if you don't get that much, he still gets like $500,000.
Is that considered stealing?
No. He won the mansion in the contest.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on too much about Mario lore. Because we do have to we got
a
go
thick
forward.
Episode. Let's push forward. All right, sweet.
All right.
So we'll do a bet.
Bowser is being voiced by Jack Black, which
Pass.
Most people are pretty stoked about it.
I'm not a big Jack Black guy.
Wow, really?
No, I'm not. I
What about him don't you appreciate? If I might ask.
I think he's a character of himself. So
you think he might be like a one-trick pony?
Yeah, and he's already an actor, like in real life. Like if you saw him on the streets, you won't get a guy that's like, hey, how's it going? Like you get Jack Black. So then when you get him into acting, I feel like it's ×2 of Jack Black.
Okay.
Kind of like Jim Carrey. You know,
right.
When Jim Carrey was doing the stuff in the 90s, like I could definitely see people being like, but he was a little bit more personable than Jack Black was. Like I don't know, screaming at people and doing that. It only lasts so long for me.
The reason I'm optimistic about that specific casting is because I feel like Bowser has the personality that could kind of fit with Jack Black, because Bowser's already kind of a goofy sort of bumbling villain in a way.
Yeah. Like
he sort of has that kind of like bumbling humor about him that Jack Black also is descriptive of.
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit, to me, more subtle with Bowser. Like I don't know. He kind of seems like he's the kid with the magnifying glass. Like he gets a little bit more of a kick out of tormenting than with the. But they'll
probably modify it for the movie.
Yeah.
Especially if they're gonna have large speaking roles.
Well, I'm just and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not School of Rock was on the other day, and I turned it on, and I was just watching it. I was like, I thought this was an okay movie then, and I'm watching it now, and that's when I kind of realized, like, I guess I'm just over Jack Black. I haven't seen him in anything in a while, so I haven't missed him.
Most people love him. I will say they have a similar reaction to him that they do Keanu Reeves, which I don't know. I can see.
He's like, I guess
he's pretty likable.
He's wholesome. He's wholehearted. I mean, he does his thing.
He's one of the few people in Hollywood that seem genuine.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a big of the.
Yeah, I get it. I could see how that would turn some people off.
Yeah.
Toad is going to be voiced by Keegan-Michael Key.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a weird one.
Really?
Yeah. How is he going to do? I'm so curious about his Toad voice, because you know what Toad sounds like.
Oh, at this point, I'm done with any. Chris Pratt's playing Mario.
I know, but
Like, you don't need to get the. You might lose the whole Italian accent when he takes over.
I'm very curious as to whether or not they'll even do an accent
With Mario
and Luigi. Cause
all these guys. I mean, even Bowser. Bowser talks, but don't they like do the dinosaur growl and then you get the dialogue like it's subtitles?
The most he ever talks, like actually is voice acted, is in Super Mario Sunshine, and that kind of comes off as like really goofy and not in the best way.
Right.
Whereas like the rest of the games before and after, they just have him like growl basically and roar, and then they just put a text box over him. Yeah, basically.
That's how I remember him in Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. But
that'd be fun. I mean, but Toad is a little eccentric, so
Toad is just energetic all the time.
Yeah, and that's how Keegan-Michael Peel is. I mean, like
Keegan-Michael Peel.
Keegan-Michael is that Keegan?
You just combined both of them.
Keegan-Michael Key.
Yes.
Oh my God, there's too many keys in there.
You combine Jordan Peele's name with Keegan-Michael Key.
I guess I've always no.
You just mashed them together.
I did. I'm just trying to think. I don't know. Keegan-Michael Key. There's too many keys for me.
Jordan Michael Peele Key.
Peel Key.
Peel and Key. They should make a show titled that. So the last big one was Seth Rogen is going to be playing Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people have been memeing on that with Seth Rogen's laugh, because Seth Rogen, he really doesn't have a whole lot of range when it comes to different voices. It's just Seth Rogen. I mean, you've watched the new Lion King remake.
Yeah.
It's just his voice. I mean, he fits the role of Pumbaa because that's kind of what Pumbaa already sounded like, but it's still just Seth Rogen's voice going like talking about
it'll be interesting
smoking marijuana.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe Donkey Kong will be baked in this thing.
Dude, you have no idea how much the internet has memed on this already. People have reacted to this in like it's all in like good spirits, right?
Sure.
It's all in like good fun, you know, because it's such a out there casting that nobody saw coming. You can't tell me that you saw it coming.
No,
you didn't even know about it.
I mean, no, the one that I honestly would have guessed for Mario is Chris Pratt, because he's
okay. How in a million years would you have guessed Mario is Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt right now is just taking paychecks. He went from this like chubby, personable guy. He's gotten into some action films, toned down the body weight, and now he's just a good-looking dude that's charismatic that you can literally put into any film. And it's not that he'll overtake the film, but he also isn't going to let it flounder.
But do you know what Mario is like? He's in the games, he's just wahoo, yippee, waha, and that's it. That's literally the whole entirety of Mario's character.
But I know, but it's like they're making a film out of it, so you got to kind of expand the.
I know, but part of me before they announced the cast was of the mindset that they would get Charles Martinet, who's the voice actor for the video games for Mario and Luigi.
This is going to be a.
And they would kind of like Wallace and Gromit it, where like they don't speak, but the plot kind of like builds itself around them, sort of thing. Where like all the other characters talk, but maybe they stay the same.
No, I mean that's
obviously that's not the case.
Well, I was about to say you had a different. I heard that they're gonna pour in $150 million into this film, and it's like if you do that, you're gonna get some known actors. So people will be like, "I'll go see the movie because Chris Pratt's in it."
Yeah, I think people would have seen it either way though, because everybody knows Mario. Like, You'll have a harder time meeting someone who doesn't know what Mario is than meeting someone who does. Yeah. He's such a household name at this point.
You'd probably have the same conversations too. I mean, like everyone's going to have their own interpretation on what you should do with the film. I'm just saying, like, it reminds me of, I'm just thinking like a Lego movie or, Sonic the Hedgehog went a little different route.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of have a little bit of faith for Chris Pratt as Mario, because he has voice acting experience. I mean, I don't know about Anya Taylor-Joy, but pretty much everybody else has voice acting experience in some form.
Yeah.
Because both Seth Rogen and Keegan-Michael Key were in Lion King.
Yep.
Of course, Chris Pratt was in Lego Movie. Jack Black was in Kung Fu Panda. And then Charlie Day was also in the Lego Movie. He was the spaceman.
Yeah.
They all have experience in some degree. So I'm not worried about it not being a good voice cast.
No, me neither.
I'm just curious as to what voices they'll actually pick for Mario and Luigi specifically, if they're gonna try to do accents or not.
If I had to wager, I'd say no. I mean, I think you just lean into it and just
kind of embrace the fact that it's them.
Yeah, like I think that'd be the best route to go because you don't want it to be distractingly bad either. Where
who knows how this movie's gonna turn out. I'm so torn because on one hand it's Illumination, so there's a good possibility they might like minionify the Goombas, and they might just look at Mario and just go banana and just all that shit. But there's another part of me that kind of has a little faith in it because Shigeru Miyamoto's pretty heavily involved from what I hear.
Oh well, I mean you're mixing two different brains now.
I know that's. I'm so torn. Like I said, we have to wait for a trailer.
I won't go too far into it. Hey, we'll continue the Mario talk going forward with updates and what's going on with it because I got my own idea of how it's going to turn out.
Okay.
So, but I'm curious it could be revolutionary.
We'll have to watch the live action Mario movie in preparation for the
one from '88.
Yeah.
Oh,
with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
Yeah. Yeah.
We watched that for a bad movie night a few years ago, and it was a lot of fun.
Was it a bad movie?
No, well, I don't want to give too much away. We'll have to wait.
I've seen bits and pieces of it when I was younger. I want to say like probably middle school. It was on HBO. Caught like the last 20-30 minutes of it. Very confused as to what was going on because
someone described it recently as Kid Blade Runner, and it makes a lot of sense.
Really?
Yeah, because like it tries to be that sort of dystopian cyberpunk kind of vibe, and
people living on top of each other.
Yeah, it comes across very cheesy and not the best quality.
All right, well. I'll add that to the list of movies I have to see.
Well, we'll probably just watch it and then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it because that'll be our prep for the Mario movie.
There we go.
So do you want to get into the questions that we had last time that we weren't able to get to?
Sure.
You want to just start that off? I figured we could flip a coin, and then whoever it lands on can ask the question first.
I mean, I'll go first. I don't know if we really.
I know you wanted to incorporate the coin flip in some form. So I
with
figured
this, we can if you want to flip it.
I mean, I'm just doing what you kind of originally wanted, put the coin flip in there in some capacity.
Sure.
Right. I mean, if you don't want to do the coin flip, we don't have to do the coin flip.
I don't mind.
Okay. All right. Heads. I'll call heads.
All right. You got heads.
Yep. Why'd you flip it so far away? I can't even see what it is.
Hold on.
Oh.
Where'd it go?
It's right there.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
We're assessing the coin situation. It's heads. I get to ask the question first.
There we go. All right.
Woo! I got to flip back to my notes to figure out what my question was. All right. My question for you was, what would you say your preferred genre of movie is? And we can both answer this question too. Like we'll both answer our own questions when we ask them.
Oh, okay. That I guess mine's a lot more niche. I mean, I guess I would have to say, is probably just action. I think for me, and we'll probably talk about one of these films, but like not necessarily sci-fi action, but action movies have the most. The greatest potential for takeaway and the least investment that you have to put in. So I don't want to say like I'm a lazy film watcher, but with action films, there's definitely a lot more creativity that a writer may not put into the film that we as an audience can interpret and craft our own scenarios, likely outcomes from what comes of action films.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just from watching, I think Gemini Man, just, my mind can wander.
Yeah.
And I can start to do my own little, well, if I did this or do that. So, and then, the other takeaway too with action films is that if they're all right or good, you just lose yourself in what's going on.
Yep.
And it doesn't ask too much of you as an audience member to pay attention. And that's not to say, I feel like I'm making myself sound like a drone with it, but like, I my mind tend to wander when I watch movies. So I find it's always a little bit better when I watch something that if I kind of start thinking about other things or other things that should be happening in the movie, that I don't miss out on too much. So that's probably where I'd settle at. If we got into like a thing where it was like the prison dinner, if you get to pick one genre, before we, I'd probably settle into action.
Okay.
And it was just, I know I'd get some mild entertainment guaranteed.
Right.
So
I think action is such a different sort of movie to try to shoot compared to something that's just a drama or even like a horror movie, because there's so much. If you do it right, there's a lot of choreography to it.
Yes.
It's almost like a dance that they have to do, right? They have to practice this choreography over and over again until they get it right, and then they shoot it, make it look good, impress the audience with how good it looks.
Yeah.
Hopefully. If it doesn't look good, then it's just a bad movie.
Yeah.
But action movies are great in that if you just make really good action, the movie itself will still hold up.
Yeah.
And if you, obviously there's a lot more that goes into it. There's cinematography, there's the music that they put in while the action scene is going on. If you play the wrong track while John Wick is fighting someone, it might take you out of the movie a little bit.
Do like a little jazz session.
Yeah. Luckily that hasn't been the case, but
yeah.
No, I can definitely see the value in it for sure. And, I know some people who are like, they're not the biggest fan of action movies, and that's fine. People have their preferences.
Yeah.
But you can't deny that there is a lot that goes into action that doesn't go into a lot of other genres.
Yeah. Like you touched on, there's a lot of stuff that you have to get right. And if it's well made, it'll, even on Gemini Man, I'll talk about a scene that I really liked.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But so I don't want to get into that, but
we'll get into it.
No, that's why my line of thinking with it is it might not be. I guess it is my favorite. I like all of them. It just depending on the day, So, but if I had to fall back on one for sure, because I think that one has the biggest scope in terms of what's going to entertain me, and what I essentially look for in a movie is something that I'll derive something out of. And I've watched some movies that were just empty.
Yeah.
And if they're empty and not a lot's going on, it tends to take away a lot of your time. So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah.
My answer probably would be, I've been kind of really getting into character study movies, if I'm being honest with you. I found that when I watch a movie that's not purely a character study, but almost that's like the sole purpose.
Yeah, whether it's fictional or biographical.
Mostly fictional so far. When I find that I watch a movie like that, I tend to enjoy, almost always enjoy it, Of course, there's been some exceptions, but for the most part, the movies that I've watched that have been character studies have been really well done. Like I watched There Will Be Blood, The Master, Taxi Driver, Saint Maud is a character study, I would say.
Oh, that's a good one.
Just movies like that are just so focused on just the person and not necessarily an overarching plot.
Yeah.
Just a period in their life where they're basically at their worst or their best.
I was about to say, and I actually, you know what? If we're getting if we want to do and there's not a lot of films on it, but some of my favorite films are films that take place in a day. Mm-hmm. Now that you say,
Collateral.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dog Day Afternoon. I'm not going to be able to think about all of them right now, but
Of course.
you know, if we get, I guess I was thinking of a little bit broader of a genre, but, and I'm not trying to trample on yours, but you made me switch up what I was thinking of. Movies that take place in a day, and you probably appreciate the character studies a little bit more as a writer, you know.
It's the shorter amount of time it is, the more compelled I am, I think, because when you break it up into different days and like time passes in the movie, then it's a lot easier to be taken out of it. Whereas if it just keeps going, you're so easily invested. Like Good Time is a great example of that.
Oh my god.
it just takes place over like a 24-hour period, and you're following this character, a character that you don't even necessarily like.
Wow.
And you're just invested in what's happening.
Anti-hero, sympathetic villain. Probably anti-hero.
Yeah, we won't talk too much about that movie.
Okay.
Maybe one day.
Oh my god, yeah. Bad time with good time. Or a good time with good time.
I would say a great time with good time.
Man, that was one of the films that, we don't need to get into it.
So yeah, I would say character study for me.
It's awesome. All right, I'm going to do movies that take place in a day.
Okay.
I really do like that. Or it's probably within, maybe if you span it out over 72 hours. 1917 I saw recently.
Yep.
Over the course, and I was like, it's one of my favorite war movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that might be going into the bin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The max bin of approval.
Yes. Which,
is it hard to get into the bin of approval?
nah, there's just a lot of range.
Oh.
There's a lot of range.
That's fine.
So, yeah.
What's your question for me?
Okay, so I didn't keep it as broad because I'm not really good with that.
That's fine. We can get as specific as we want.
Well, that's what, and I'm glad that we're answering this because now I actually have a little time to think about this too. And I kind of did it on the backdrop of one of my favorite, maybe the concepts. I don't know exactly what to call it, but anyways, you are a detective in a noir film.
Okay.
All right. What type of detective are you, and what's the crime you're trying to solve?
I am Will Ferrell's version of Sherlock Holmes, and I'm trying to solve whatever's happening in that piece of shit movie that he's in.
Will Ferrell's Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah. Did you know about that?
No.
He did a Sherlock Holmes like parody movie with John C. Reilly.
Oh, it was called Holmes, right?
It's called Holmes and Watson.
Yeah.
And it's bad. To be serious, the only thing that comes to mind, I don't really watch a whole lot of detective stuff. I really like the character of Loki in Prisoners, Jake Gyllenhaal's character.
Yeah.
Detective Loki.
Yeah.
So I would like to think that I would be like him, where he's very good at his job and he's really hard on himself if something just doesn't go right.
Kind of straight edged.
Mm-hmm.
He's persistent.
He's persistent.
Passionate.
He's driven.
Yeah.
And he's really hard on himself too.
Yeah. Well,
which I kind of am in some ways. So I would probably say I would be a character like him.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm pretty sure I'd be a loose cannon.
Okay.
I'm thinking
you'd be like a
Joaquin Phoenix.
I was thinking of Lethal Weapon.
Oh, Gibson? No. Probably not that crazy. I'm leaning way more towards Joaquin.
In what specifically?
In Inherent Vice.
I still have to see that.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, yeah. Probably a little bit, not as big of a loose cannon, you know. Definitely questionable decisions.
Mm-hmm.
There's an air of brilliance behind some of the things he does, but it makes you question: is it more so on the happen chance of luck rather than him being good at his job? You know. So, yeah, that's a little bit more. When I first wrote this down, I was thinking of like 1950s. You know. Guy's the narrator, unreliable narrator.
The stereotypical like trench coat, black and white sort of thing.
Yeah. I got a 44 that I keep in my desk, you know, and then I got a 44 that I keep in my pocket.
I got a stogie in the glove compartment.
Yeah. So that's what I was curious as to. I guess I thought you might have liked noir a little bit more, but
I mean, I don't know. I can definitely like open myself up to more movies like that, but as far as like actually being in them or into them, I'm not I've not really been exposed to that much.
Exposed.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Oh, Brick. I'll show you. Brick will be something that I might have to assign to you.
Have you ever watched? Have you ever heard of this movie that stars Joaquin Phoenix called "You Were Never Really Here"?
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen it?
No, wait. You were never. It's based on him. It's a true story, right?
No, I don't think so. It's based off a novella.
Nope, never mind. You Were Never Really Here it just came out recently, right?
It came out a few years ago.
Like 2017, 2018?
2017, I think.
Yep. That's the one he's
like a vet, and he like goes around and he does these jobs for people. He's basically like a hired muscle.
Yes.
And he's got PTSD, and he's like throughout the entire movie he's like heavily suicidal, and he's kind of like mentally unstable in a way.
Yeah.
That's a good kind of like loose cannon Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Yeah, he might be a little bit even looser.
Yeah,
it's like a realistic Gibson. Gibson was like cartoony in Lethal Weapon with his. You want me to jump? I'll do it.
Yeah, he was a little more in your face about it, whereas Joaquin is like, you can tell there's something underneath the surface where like this man is being torn apart. Yeah. Manhunter-esque. Yeah, in a way. But that's a good movie. I just wanted to point that out in case you hadn't seen it. Well, now our audience knows to go check it out. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
It is. Yep. I got it on a list of movies that I want to check out. That one's been sitting there. It was after Joaquin. Sort of. I mean, I think he kind of faded out just a little bit.
Until Joker.
Yeah. Well, I think that was right before. No. Yeah. Right before Joker.
Yeah. Joker was 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would be a Loki from Prisoners. You would be kind of like the stereotypical, like, kind of like loose cannon.
I'm gonna sit with this one. I'm gonna go with Joaquin Phoenix from Inherent Vice.
Okay. I'll have to look up clips of him in that movie.
Yeah.
Or just probably watch the movie, honestly.
Good luck. That would be that's a good one. Not on the same plane as Only God Forgives, but
kind of gets there.
I'm Paul Thomas Anderson, so he did Inherent Vice. I also believe he did The Master.
Yeah,
Boogie Nights.
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, that might be a good compare and contrast episode that we could do. Inherent Vice.
Okay.
Towards something else. Yeah, There Will Be Blood would be a cool one.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Do we want to get into our discussions of the movies that we saw?
Absolutely. I've been looking forward. I mean, I've been looking forward to this because both films were
okay. We'll get into what we think about them after we summarize them, I guess. So let's talk about the Tomorrow War first.
Okay. I'll summarize that.
You summarize it first because you saw it more recently than me.
Yeah. So the Tomorrow War is a movie about the future. Kind of weird because they get into it. It's a pretty cool intro that they got. But anyways, Chris Pratt's in it. I'm not exactly sure who his wife is or the daughter, but he is a teacher, high school teacher, and they talk about he's applying for a job right in the very beginning of it, right? And he's got an interview, so you get a really the exposition's all right there with what he does, who he is, because he's talking to these guys. I thought it was kind of weird about how he was talking to them, but I don't need to get into that. And doesn't get the job, so he's kind of down on his luck. He's feeling pretty crappy. Mm-hmm. He goes back in, Christmas party, and on the TV they're watching a soccer game, which I don't know why.
Americans, they love their soccer.
Yeah, especially on the backdrop of Christmas.
Yeah,
like Christmas in Los Angeles. It was just so weird. It's Christmas in Los Angeles. I don't know why they had to do Christmas, but it was just it's supposed to be a winter night.
It's a Christmas movie.
It might as well be in San Diego. It could have been March. So, anyways, and these people come onto the screen and they pop in there and they say, "Hey, we're from the future. There's this war coming on. We're losing. We need to recruit you." And so all the nations gather around and they decide that they're going to do a draft, like a worldwide draft. Mm-hmm. So if your date gets picked, you're in, And so little bit of the movie goes along. They have some other weird exposition. They throw out like this, some foreshadowing event, which if you hadn't pointed it out to me, probably would have went by me, but it really bugged me.
Was it the
oh my God, the
volcano kid?
Yeah, like no. Seriously, we'll get into it. Yeah, volcano kid, and then right after that, he gets a call saying you've been selected. You gotta come in here. They do the thing. They kind of show how the bracelet works. They give you the timeline on how everything's gonna unfold. Then they get into the military stuff, and they really just say you get a week of training, and then you're in. All you have to do is survive a week. You survive a week, you come back, your time's done, right? Mm-hmm. And then they let him know that he's good to go because he passes away in 7 years. He's going to be dead, so they can use him now.
Yeah, he's going to be dead in the time frame of when the war starts and, when he goes into the future.
So then they do this thing, and they meet up, and he finds the comic relief in there, and they kind of say, hey, it's all these people. Have you ever noticed this? And they give you, like, why they aren't going to mess with time. And I thought that was kind of cool. Like, that made sense to me. And then they get into the jungle, essentially, right?
The concrete jungle.
Yeah, Miami, right? And it's, they're our team, and they got to go find this research lab, and the lady's directing them, and, all hell, we'll talk about that too, but, all hell breaks loose.
I should preface, too, before we continue, spoilers for the Tomorrow War, by the way.
I think here on out, like, the way I've thought about it is, like, we'll probably just talk about a movie in its entirety, and if you'd like to sit down and have a conversation or hear our thoughts and compare it to yours, cool. If you want to be able to do that, pause it, watch the film, come back to it. I got a buddy of mine that did that with Only God Forgives.
Okay.
Yeah, he said he got to that point. He goes, I wanted to see it and hear what you guys thought and what I thought. So and then we were texting about it after he watched it, and he was laughing, and he's like, dude, you guys, So I think just here on out, like, that's just how we'll operate. As we're going to talk about the film.
Yeah, I figured I'd just throw it in there, just to be safe.
No, and that I don't think we've really. I know we've teetered on it, kind of like, don't we? I think it's just cool because
we reached a point in the movie where like it hasn't really gotten too spoilery yet. So
for sure. And this one, I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard.
Anyway.
Not hard to spoil, but we'll talk about it because he gets in there and then he meets someone and you find out it's someone important. It's his daughter that he meets in the.
It's his daughter. It's his daughter that grew up.
Yeah.
So now they're like the same age.
Yep, and it's I like that part of it. But anyways, so they go in there. They go to capture one of these things. Another action sequence. They do it, and then they got 6 hours, 12 hours to figure out the genome code to
something like that.
Yeah, get this, like, find out the toxicity level in this thing and find out what can, do it, and then
basically trying to find out what can kill it.
Yeah, all hell breaks loose, and then it's. I'll just leave it at that because I don't even need. We'll talk about.
Well, yeah, we'll discuss the ending for sure.
So what were your? I know you kind of had some beef with it.
I thought this movie was a piece of shit.
Okay, there it is, everyone. It's out there. So it's funny too because I did not.
You didn't think it was a giant, massive turd goblin?
So like how I was talking about action films, this thing, I didn't have to think too much about it, which isn't a great sign. That's what I'm saying. But the action itself and some of the ideas around it, I appreciated. So one of the weird things for me was I think when we talked about this, the father-daughter relationship, and not in the sense that they're the same age, but as they are nearing the end and, she's got to go.
Yeah.
That
and
weird.
He acts like it's like he's known that version of her his whole life.
Yeah. Like totally bizarre.
Regardless of the fact that he's going to go back into his present day and see his current daughter.
Get to know her, of which he doesn't know anything about her because she's only 4.
I think she's like 9 or something.
Well, whatever. However,
it's whatever.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like in this version she was 37 or something like that. Like he's going back 20 years or however many years it is, and he's gonna get to grow up with that daughter, and it turns into her. Like, what, dude? You missed out on 20 years. You're crying over this one.
Yeah.
Like, what if she was like, I'm gonna die at the age of 9?
And they only knew each other basically for like a day. Even if they are like father and daughter, it's still.
Well, no, it was a week. I mean, they do the whole thing. Like you're in there for 10 days, and his thing was.
It just feels like a day.
It does, because I mean, it was. I'm not. The action I thought was cool. Some of the decisions were questionable. I don't have and then the use of time. Like, there's one scene they're gonna bomb Miami, and they have to run. I don't know how. Like the scene goes on. Like the jets, however fast jets go, or like leaving Puerto Rico or Cuba.
They're on their way.
Like. So you have 45 seconds, right?
So my gripe with that scene is, so they're told that, right? They're told that the city's going to be bombed. They need to go in, get the scientists, get out.
Yeah.
And so they're like hurrying down the street, trying to get into the building. But then they get in the building and they're going slow as hell. They're going slow the entire time they're inside. And it's like...
No, they didn't.
Do you guys not know that there's jets coming to blow the city up?
They didn't. They got into blowing it up. They got out of it. So they grabbed. Well, they kind of were like pretty damn close. No, you're right, because they were like in there. He's grabbing the stuff and like jets are on the way. And I'm like, where are these things flying from? One, because like how long do they have?
Right.
And then there's several melees that break out. At one point they're crossing a bridge and this big dude falls. Now, mind you, they've only been in the field together for all of 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Big dude falls down. Chris Pratt jumps down there to save him, which doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess, all right, good guy, part of the team, sweet. Like, I don't know if I'm making that decision. Like, I'm probably just going like, I'm risking my life in order, and he's probably got like a 5% chance to live. And then, mind you, now the jets are already like there too, so this is all like in slow motion.
Yeah.
The chick that was with the dude, that they were kind of fighting together.
They were kind of like the weird comic relief partners in a way.
Yeah, for all of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm supposed to care about that. And then she goes, you save yourselves. I got him. And I'm like.
They like make this sacrificing sort of gesture.
Yeah. Like, I'll protect him. We were in this shit together. And I'm like, you guys have been together for all of 2 hours in this world that you just, which the falling, the time portal, pretty dope. That was a sick scene.
That's like one of the few scenes I liked.
Yeah.
A little bit, because they showed people smacking themselves on like the ledges of buildings.
Oh,
like their head would smack and they just go flying off into the distance.
Yeah.
And that was pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, like I was like, damn, I would not want to be in that situation. But I thought it was kind of cool how, the time portal's all messed up, and then, and bodies are just raining out of the sky.
They say it's supposed to teleport them like 10 feet above the ground.
Yeah.
So that they can ensure that they're not stuck in the ground, and then they get like 100 stories up.
That was madness. So I mean, that's where we're at. So we get into this chick, then she just starts like, and then it's slow motion, really gut wrenching music going on, and you can just see him getting swarmed, and she's just firing at everything.
And then the jets come and they drop the explosives and everything blows up.
So, and they're 2 miles away from where they need to get to. And then obviously they don't get to that 2 mile point. But for some reason, I don't know how bombs work, but they are just outside of the explosion radius. So they only get propelled by the power, the sheer force, rather than, encumbered or, engulfed with flames.
Well, it's like it wouldn't have made that much of a difference either if they had just kept running too.
Yeah.
Like if they just like gone along, because most everyone in that group died anyway, except for Chris Pratt, the comic relief, and then the hard ass dude.
Yeah.
Who like was on his like third tour basically.
Yep.
And was just already like this veteran dude. Whose personality was that he was a hard ass, and that was it.
I mean, I actually I like that guy, because he had a good, it's like, I'm going out. He had cancer. So he's like, I'm going out anyways. Like, it's inoperable. They told me I was going to die, which also didn't make sense, because they told that guy how he was going to die, or maybe he figured it out, because they didn't tell Chris Pratt how he was going to die.
Right.
Which I was like, why does that guy get to find out and this guy doesn't?
Yeah, there's so many inconsistencies. That character was just... They introduced those characters, and they're there for that scene, right? Up until the point when the jets come and they blow everything up, and then they're evac'd. And then after Chris Pratt meets his daughter and finds out that she's his daughter, those two characters basically F off until like the last 15% of the movie, basically.
Essentially. I mean, it was it
didn't make sense why they couldn't just stick those characters around to like give them a little bit more development, give them a little bit more like time to establish character relationships.
There's
between those four.
That doesn't exist in this film.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, they like literally shoehorn all these people just together and they keep it moving. And you're supposed to like care about these individuals. And I'm like, there's nothing I know. The only guy I really know about is Chris Pratt.
I'm supposed to care about Chris Pratt because he loves his family, and that's his character.
Yeah, and
his character is that he loves his family and that he wants to protect his family.
I mean, that's okay. That's awesome. Like, and I get that.
But that's not much of a character.
No, but I'm not defending him. I'm not saying he's a good character. None of them are good characters. Like, that's what I'm saying. Chris Pratt in these movies is just Chris Pratt. Like, you don't have to do much
just Chris Pratt.
him. I mean, it's just goes in there, good-looking guy, charismatic, and he can make a couple jokes, and he's not gonna. The film won't fail because he was bad.
Yeah, I mean, still though, I wish they would have given him like another layer of something, because he's starting to fall into this same sort of pitfall that The Rock is in right now, where it's like every movie he's in, he's just The Rock. And it's just that he doesn't like go outside of his comfort zone as a character.
He's typecast.
He's always like this charismatic, muscle-bound dude who always saves the day and kicks ass.
Well, I don't think people are.
That's kind of what Chris Pratt is becoming.
Yeah, because I don't think people are going to pay for Chris Pratt to, discover the cure for cancer in a film. And sit down and go.
That'd be a compelling movie, though. I'd like to see him try to play a legit scientist.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't think people are gonna give him a shot. I think he picked his lot. I mean, I would like to see him do some of this stuff, but I also get the feeling too that he's just in it for paychecks. Like,
well, after Guardians blew up, he basically started becoming the leading man. Aside from The Rock, who's the biggest leading man.
He got
physically and metaphorically.
Yeah, I mean. Chris Pratt got into the Jurassic Park movies, Marvel movies, and then any sort of action film that comes out.
Yeah.
So and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if he's really inclined to.
Well, at least with Guardians of the Galaxy, though, the character of Peter Quill is so heavy with different sort of nuances and personality. He's got kind of a charm, but for the most part, Peter Quill's kind of like a jerk, and that's
for sure.
That's 100%. What his appeal is. Whereas like in these movies, he's just Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
he's just charismatic, heroic Chris Pratt.
Well, in this one, he's the dude that did he did a tour in Iraq, and he's a family guy. He's the smartest guy that everyone knows.
He's a Peter Griffin.
You think?
He's a family guy.
Oh. So I have to say, like, a very simple character. I mean, he's very. So.
I just threw you off. I'm sorry.
You did, yeah. So then I was like, I dove way more into that joke. No, so it's hard. I mean, how are you gonna make any? The thing they could have did was the thing with the dad.
The thing with the dad, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, like. He had his father abandoned him when he was, when
they beat you over the head with that exposition.
Oh my God!
When he goes to see his dad,
they do the whole recanting of the last 25 years of their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that could have been like when you talk about adding an extra layer, his problems with his father, but they totally glossed it over. They make J.K. Simmons like not a bad guy in terms of. Like when he's gave the reason for leaving, I mean you should never leave, but like to have that far, like I will isolate myself from the rest of my family to make sure, because I know if I'm around them, they'll be worse off, as opposed to me isolating myself and taking that because they'll be better off. I was like, all right, that's not a bad line of logic. A lot of guys, if you abandon your kid, is because like not raising that thing.
If only they didn't like spoon feed it to you.
That's what I'm saying. So they do that, and then Chris Pratt essentially just goes, well, I got over that when I was 12. Like, I'm good now. And then it's just done.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, you made it past that. It doesn't haunt you. It doesn't disturb you. There's no sort of like makes you like imperfect because that. Nope, I'm good. I'll see you later.
And then they go from having like animosity to each other to light animosity.
Oh my God, the whole thing was. Yeah, I'm not saying it was good. I like the concept, but then the other thing that was driving me nuts too was like you die in 7 years, and I'm like, all right, so if these guys like the guy with cancer for sure, like you're at that what I found out in the What If Marvel series, absolute points. Being that you're gonna whether you go here and live or you come back, you're gonna die. It doesn't matter. You got cancer. Chris Pratt was in a car accident, and it was because he wasn't very happy with his lot in life. So he got worse, and I think he got into a drunk driving accident and died.
Whatever the daughter told him in the future.
But what I'm saying is, like, he comes back from that. Couldn't he, like, at some point in that time frame be, like, have an epiphany of, like, I really love my family. I'm going to be back. Whatever happens, I could care less because the world, I got to make this better. And then, so essentially, instead of dying after that 7-year point, like live because of changes he makes in his life.
Well, if you think about the time travel aspect of it too much, it kind of just falls apart, right?
Oh, yeah.
So because I tried explaining the time travel part to you a while ago when I first watched it, remember?
It's
you can't. You simply can't because it doesn't make any sense.
The way that they proposed it was you're going forward in time. So it's a rolling window, right? So like you're going to go in there for 10 days. You'll come back. It'll be 10 days later. And everything that's going on in here is going on back here because it's like a linear timeline, I guess. And so that's why they were picking people on the certain age and that they were trying to detect who was going to die. But yeah, and they want it. So it's funny because they want to avoid the butterfly effect. But at the same token, couldn't they create one? Because essentially they did by bringing him back and him having the
whatever it's called, the
toxin.
The toxin to kill the aliens. Yeah. So if he goes back and he has the toxin, he kills all the aliens, then that means like the events of the future don't happen.
Yeah.
And then everything just kind of nullifies itself.
Right.
And it's just, if you think about it too much, like we haven't really gotten it too much into the time travel aspect of it, but
we don't need. I mean, we
don't need to because I'm just gonna tell you right now, if you try to think about it for more than a minute, it just falls apart.
They use time travel as like a device in this film, and it's kind of a cool like we're bringing you into the future, into tomorrow or the war of tomorrow,
which is weird because like they didn't even necessarily need the time travel aspect of it.
I don't
because you find out in the end that the aliens are just underground the whole time anyway.
Right.
So then it could have just been. I don't know.
I don't know.
And
why
then like my other gripe was too. So he's got the toxin with him, and then they mass produce it so that they can like, when the aliens do come, they can like use it against them or whatever. But at that point, they don't know where exactly they come from.
Right.
So then Chris Pratt and his wife have an epiphany, and they use they go back. He finds his friends that he went into the future with. The hard ass dude and the comic relief guy.
Yep.
And then they go to the school because that's where the volcano kid is because he knows a lot about volcanoes, which is like that bit of foreshadowing from the beginning. That's lame as hell. And then they have him find out that the aliens are like somewhere in Russia underneath like this dormant frozen volcano.
Yes.
And so then Chris Pratt and his friends who have already been to the future and have like experience in doing research and how to like try to kill these things, go to the government, and the government's like, this is too much of a risk. We don't want to do it. It's like, bro, how would you not trust the guy who went to the future, got back the toxin?
Dude, not only that, he was part of the team that built the time portal. Okay.
Yeah.
So
built the time portal.
Huh?
Who are you talking about?
The government. So the people from the future, they set up a link.
He like goes to the present day government.
No, I know, but they're part of that time portal. It's present day.
Yeah,
which they're still going to the. So they've already.
They're spending like so many resources. Like
I'm sitting there watching it. Like you guys there's a line in the movie because they're like, if you guys are transporting us, like, why don't you just pick out a certain spot or have us go here? And then someone goes, we barely put this thing together.
Yeah, it's held together with chicken wire and chewing gum or whatever they say.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, we barely got this set up to fight these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, that costs $8 billion, $10 billion, however much it costs. Like, he comes back and has the solution on why they should do it. And it just immediately goes into, nah.
No, we're spread too thin as it is. We can't risk this.
Well, and I'm like, they haven't even attacked yet in this version.
They just wanted an excuse to make that government guy look like a dick.
Oh my god, it's so stupid. Well, no, they had to have a reason for, like, all right, why are we gonna have this climactic cool scene with Chris Pratt?
How are we gonna get Chris Pratt and like 6 of his friends, like, all by themselves to go to Russia?
Exactly.
Without any like government backup.
So stupid. And the guy, the comedian in it, prefaced it saying this is probably going to be a bad idea because they're going to say no because of this, this, and this. He either hits it with like before or the after, so he justifies why the government said no. So as an audience, you're sitting there like,
oh, yep, we expected that to happen.
I mean, I did it too because I was like sitting there watching. I was like, I mean, I guess along the guilds of that, like, okay, like I guess I can kind of see it, but I was like, really, it pisses me off. They were just looking for a reason to have him go there, so that's the best that they could come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come up with something that isn't bureaucratic, like that kind of fits within, like, no, we can't do it. We're already losing bodies. The time portal's like shutting down as in. We have to include more resources into keeping that structured, as opposed to sending out. And I'm like, how much would it cost to send them to Russia?
Yeah.
Right?
And even like, yeah, I don't know. They just wanted an excuse to make it so that the government was like, oh, we can't do this. It's too risky.
Yeah.
You got to have like some forced conflict and make it so that Chris Pratt is by himself.
Easiest that they could do it was that. So I had a beef with that too. There's a lot of things I had a gripe with.
What did you think of the final scene, the fight scene between the basically the Queen alien and Chris Pratt and J.K. Simmons?
I don't know. I got so tuned out with it. I just at that point I was like, they're in there and you can kind of see it like, oh, they had like the 6 eggs in there and then they take them out and they're doing the and then they find out there's a whole freaking colony in there. I was like, that's kind of cool. Like I know they're gonna have to light this thing up. Some of them get out and they get into the fight and at that point I was like,
it's like whatever, because like the hard ass dude sacrifices himself. There's a lot of sacrificing in this movie, by the way.
It's
because those two characters in the beginning, they sacrifice themselves. The guy
which
and
I don't
the
get
girl when they get bombed.
Yeah, didn't get that one.
Didn't get that one. The daughter sacrifices herself basically.
Now that I get because that's so Chris Pratt can make it back.
Yeah, even though he dives after her. Like before he's transported back anyway.
I was so fucking livid with that.
It's like, bro, why would you risk yourself?
So for me, like, because I have a son and watching that, I kind of put myself in his shoes. Like, how would I feel if I had just missed out on 25 years of Preston's life and got to see him in this, like, what's going on, changing the world, saving the world. And I was like, it hits home, like, you as a father, you'll still always love your child, So like seeing that, I was like, man, like they've done a good job with this. Then it really started pissing me off. Like he's about to go back and he's like, I can't leave you. And I'm like, I guess like I understand that because I think at any point in your life, I mean, whether it's right now with my son or whether it was 25 years, like I would probably still have that natural, I gotta save him.
But the thing is, so like. He's gonna go even if they weren't in danger, of the aliens. He's gonna go back in time, and that version of her is not gonna exist either way.
Right. Which that's what I'm saying. That's what pissed me. Like, so I get that, but then when she's dying and save yourself and this and that, I would be like, you're right. I will get to grow up with you in this because I will save the world for what you've done, and I will get to watch you grow up into this beautiful person that you are now. And then I'd walk away. Not fucking dive into the fucking sea of shit and risk, like, the world. Like,
but, dude, it was such a cool shot.
Oh, my God. I was sitting there. I really thought, I was like, I hope they kill him. Like I was like, I really hope that like this is they what they should have did was as soon as he saw that she was critically injured and like you have it, he cried, told you, and was like, I'll always take care of you. Hit it with one of those lines. Whether you're you now or you're you then, I will always love you as a father, right?
No, he just full dives on after her.
Fucking pushes her off the edge and then runs in there and I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is so stupid.
And then they got the shot with like all the aliens in the water and she's like falling with her hand reaching up and he's like reaching down as he's falling after her.
So stupid, dude. Amazon just pumped out a shit ton of money for that freaking scene. They're like, this would be so kick-ass.
Yeah, dude, this is going to be such a cool shot.
And I'm like watching this. I'm just like, this is so stupid. This fucking dude's so dumb. They're both so like, and I was like, I'm getting like choked up a little bit watching this, like the part before that, thinking about the stuff with Preston and how it relates to a father and like what they could have did with it. So like, I'm almost getting choked up with my own like, oh man, if this were really like that. And then that scene happened and I was like, fuck this film. This is so dumb.
So then they have, okay, so she sacrifices herself and then the black dude, the hard ass guy, sacrifices himself because he blows up the ship basically with him on it.
Which I was cool with because his whole motto the whole time was, I'm going to die on my own terms. Which I really appreciated because that's why he kept doing those tours. He's like, I'm not letting cancer take me. So as shitty as it is that I have to go in and fight space demons or whatever they are, the White Claws.
Yeah, they call them the White Spikes.
White Spikes.
Not the White Claws.
God, I was about to say if they call them White Claws.
White Claws would have been a little on the nose.
Yeah.
Even more so than White Spikes. We
probably would have saw some of the White Spikes on the freaking like cans of White Claws.
Which, by the way, what a name for the aliens. Let's just name them after the thing that they are. You know, they're white and they shoot spikes.
White Spikes.
White Spikes.
That's as creative as we can get. We have this whole fucking thing with the time realm, and we're explaining time and why we're associated. Hey, what do you want to call the aliens?
The White Spikes.
Fuck it.
What are they? They're white and they have spike. White spike white. Yeah, that's what spike white.
They should have mixed it in like I can't even think like how would you if you just made it all one word, White Spikes, like but just if you tried to write it on a sheet of paper and say it out loud.
I wish they had made so what I was hoping when I watched this movie because I had no idea what the aliens were going to be like.
Right.
I knew there was going to be some type of conflict in the future. I didn't even honestly know there was going to be aliens, to be real with you.
Really?
When I got into it. Yeah, because I didn't know if it was just going to be like, oh, people from the future are attacking the present. Oh, because like I didn't know anything about it going in.
Like it could have been Russia 50 years from now and they got
something. It could have been like a Olympus Has Fallen, but you know, people from the future.
Yeah.
What I was kind of hoping when I found out it was aliens was I was hoping that they would be sentient in some way, like that they could communicate with, you know, the people that were in the movie.
Right.
They're just big animals, basically. They're just parasites. They're just big, like dog creatures that shoot spikes at you.
Yeah.
Because they howl around on all fours and they go, and that's.
So bizarre.
That's basically what they are. They're just big dumb animals.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, they kind of just
they have like a weird sort of colony thing like bees do, where they have like a queen, and then the queen gets pregnant and she out a bunch of other aliens. So then the black guy sacrifices himself, and then J.K. Simmons almost sacrifices himself.
Try to.
When he like cuts his hand to like draw the queen to him to get her away from Chris Pratt.
You get into you get into like the kind of the hero's journey, the father son aspect, like we talked about, which is
Oh, I hate you. Oh, I hate you too. Hey, now that we've acknowledged that we hate each other, we don't hate each other that much anymore. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. Hey, Dad, can you help me with this? Yeah, sure, son. Oh, by the way, I'm going to sacrifice myself for you because I love you so much. And thanks, Dad.
What's so funny about that, too, is like Chris Pratt's motto was a second chance with his daughter because he finds out what he did to her, but he goes back and hadn't done it yet. So instead of having a second chance, don't you just avoid what you were going to do?
Like literally, like, well, it's like I said, if you think about it too much, it falls apart.
I don't think there's any like that's literally what happens. Like they say you're gonna die in 7 years in a car accident, and and then his daughter tells him you fell apart, and it's like, oh well, now that I know I fell apart, why don't I just go back and make amends, make amends with myself and just understand like I'll make it better. Like you don't have like he didn't. At this point, he hadn't fucked anything up with his daughter. It's just 10 days away from him being in here.
You don't see anything like that. You just get told it.
Yeah, so he goes back and he's like, I want a second chance with my girl. And I'm like, you're still on the first chance.
Yeah.
You haven't even botched this one yet.
Oh, I need to redeem myself. And it's like, bro, you haven't even fallen.
And that's why he did exactly, and that's what got him with J.K. Simmons was like, everyone deserves a second chance.
Didn't even have his first chance yet.
Hasn't fucked anything up yet. And he's like, Dad, I already forgive you for what I'm about to do to my daughter 7 years from now if we don't stop the world today. The fuck is wrong? Dude, so much coke when I'm writing that thing. I told my friend because I was
not enough.
I was talking to my buddy about it, and I was like, yeah, I laughed because I was like, I didn't find the movie. I told him, I said the writing in the film is god awful. The plot is god awful. I was like, I actually still enjoyed watching the film, but like I think because maybe somewhat of this going on with the fact that I like some of the action sequences, and like I didn't, some of the, wasn't completely off base because like unlike you, I did like the guy that was like, I'm gonna die on my own terms. That's about as much as I needed for a guy. Why he was kind of lunatic was like, regardless, because if they would have did that to Pratt, no, you can't. I don't know. I'm not gonna even get into how you. But, yeah. So did you think anything of it was good, or maybe we turned the page on it?
I thought some of the CGI was pretty decent, like the alien in the stairwell scene specifically. I thought that was pretty decent.
I thought that was well. Oh, I was laughing actually pretty good too. While he's shooting the gun, shit.
Compared to Gemini Man, just because it's so like recent in my mind,
both of them.
It's more uniquely shot, I guess. Like the cinematography is just a little bit better in a lot of ways, I guess, compared to that movie, at least, God. Which is not hard to accomplish at all. And then I kind of liked when they drop in scene just solely for the fact that you get to see people smack into the building and then fly off into the distance, and that was it.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything else just kind of felt subpar.
I mean, just paper mache.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you on that. I guess
it's like it feels like a parody movie that you would see a poster for in a video game that you're playing.
Oh yeah.
You're like at the movie theater level, and you go through and you see posters for The Tomorrow War starring Chris Pratt.
Yeah. That's actually a good way of putting it. I'm thinking of like Vice City. Like I would see things in Vice City pop up and be like,
yeah,
that if it got made into a movie, that'd be a bad movie. But
it's a Grand Theft Auto video game movie.
Yeah, that's not bad. So like, what would you rate it then?
I
think that's like one of the things I want to start coming out with.
It's funny that you asked that because I've been rating a little insight into what I've been doing this past year, actually.
Oh yeah.
So for those who don't know, I've been going through and watching at least 2 movies a week that I've never seen before, and I started this in February of this year. So far I've watched, I think, last time I counted it was over 60 movies or something like that.
Nice.
Because sometimes I'll watch 2, like most of the time I'll watch 2 weeks. Sometimes I'll squeeze in 3. There's been like one time I've done 4 in a week.
Big baller.
I know. And I've been going through and I've been rating each of these movies that I've been watching, because I think hopefully one day I want to like make a video and talk about each of these movies for like a minute and give my like overall view on them.
Oh, do like a 1 minute with Kyle.
Something.
Yeah.
Except it's going to be like one video over all these movies,
right.
so it's going to be kind of longer. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, like you get like a minute in, you do the synopsis, you hit them with like one thing, and then it's the rating.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of cool.
So I gave The Tomorrow War a 3 out of 10.
So what's
not even on IMDb though, just on my.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Notes.
So you're out of a. Are you out of a? You're 1 through 10 on your. Because I think what we need to do is come out with a Neon Cruise scale for how we. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes has a thing. IMDb has a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We get our own little thing. Now, granted, we've kind of been picking on some movies that are easy to pick on.
Right.
So I'd be curious, and then we can kind of compare and contrast where we're at, maybe settle on something, or...
I like the, for me personally, because everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
I like my scale of like 1 to 10.
Okay.
Because it's simple.
Sure.
I feel like it's an accurate representation of how I can measure movies.
Right.
It's like a large enough scale, because some people will do like out of 5, or they'll do like a star system, or they'll even like grade it with like a letter rating, which I've thought about doing myself. But I think for me personally, I like the like out of 10 scale.
We can, I mean, like,
which you can have like your own sort of thing too.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
entirely
trying to get something where we're on the same page. So if we talk, that was one of the things, not to get into sports talk. New England Patriots, when they recruit someone, they got it onto a system where any recruiter could go out, assign letter grades, right? Write down certain things.
Yep.
And anyone in the department could pick up, see it, and understand, how they were objectively graded. So that's what I'm saying. If we get, a system between us going.
Okay.
And I'm cool, like 1 out of 10, if that's where you're at. I'm not picky on it. I just kind of was thinking about it on the way up here. Like, we should probably figure out something where we can sit down and say, like, because you're going to give it a 3 out of 10.
Yes.
That movie, I probably would give a 5 out of 10. Like, I think it's either 5 or 6 on IMDb. Because that's, I kind of go on there, and that's how I used to, not to take over this part, I'd go on there and I'd rank it against other people's rankings. And then I finally got to it, like, no, I'm going to give it what I think. Because there are bad movies that I thoroughly enjoy, and there are good movies that people really like that I think are awful.
It's really easy to kind of see other people's reviews of a movie and go, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very easy to fall into that trap, which
so
I will still sometimes do, I feel like, which I have to kind of like watch myself. But I mean, if you're cool with like the out of 10 scale,
let's do it. That's how you've been doing it. I'm on it, and then we just got to come up with a neon crew. All we got to do is brand it, and now we can sell it. So
yep.
There we go.
We gotta figure out a whole bunch of things to sell to our lovely audience. So I'd give it a 3 out of 10. You'd give it a 5 out of 10 or a 6.
Yeah, I'm hovering it. It's maybe we do 20 stars. I'm just kidding.
Make it easy.
Yeah. I'm somewhere in between there. I really, I didn't have too much. I did have a gripe with the writing. I like the action. I thought the way it was told to me and the way I viewed it was very simple in nature. Don't read too much into it. Mm-hmm. And when I viewed it like that, it went down very smoothly, and it wasn't long at all. Like, it was an easy 2-hour watch.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I kind of, unlike the next one we're about to talk about.
So should we? That's a good segue into Gemini Man. So
Tomorrow War, check it out if you can, and
or don't even because
I say check it. You gotta see how we think about it. I want to see if people agree with us, because I know people that are gonna like that film.
Oh yeah.
And like, I'm gonna now I'm gonna have to defend my thoughts and opinions with them now, because they're
well, they can hear our thoughts and opinions.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I'm curious. I like people checking it out, and then
okay.
I want someone to call you up and tell you why you're wrong.
Oh yeah. I want that to happen. We'll get that. We'll get that eventually.
Cool. So yeah, let's go into the next. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just think
no, you're good. So we watched Gemini Man 2, which was the movie I recommended. And I am filled with regret and shame over my choice. Not necessarily, because we're gonna rip into it. But I
don't know about regret and shame. It's part of it. I was looking forward to watching this film.
It's part of the job.
Yeah, exactly. We're, like we said, watching movies so you guys don't have to. So, our buddy too that wanted us to see it.
Yeah, our friend who we will not name.
Yeah,
we're not going to give you the satisfaction.
If we get some more followers on Twitter here, we can start sending out Twitter handles.
To be completely 100% honest with you right now.
Yeah,
I have not really been using the Twitter.
Maybe that's something I'll take over. You handle, you do Facebook, and I'll do Twitter.
Well, because like I made a post about the first episode, and then like just it didn't get anything, obviously, because we only have like 4 followers.
Yeah,
and at that point, I was like, okay, well, we have like a lot more on Facebook. I'm just gonna concentrate on Facebook. So if you want to take over the Twitter, be my guest.
That
Go
might
right
be
ahead.
Something that I can have fun with.
Yeah,
I get the the disguise of the Neon
You
Cruise.
can I can do the memes on Facebook. You can do the memes on Twitter.
Yeah.
We'll divvy it up.
And you'll just have to add the content when it drops onto Twitter. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but if you can throw out the, hey, episode 3 here, and then I'll just do the filler for the weeks leading up to the next one.
I'll just share my account info with you, and then you can just
cool
take over when you feel like. So yeah, Gemini Man. I guess I'll summarize it the best I can.
I want to hear how. Let me see without your ears bleeding.
Okay. So Gemini Man stars Will Smith, and Will Smith is a basically assassin for I think the NSA, and so he performs this last hit on this Russian dude who he thinks is a terrorist, and so he does that. He tells us, basically beats us over the head with exposition about how he's the best in the business, and everybody around him says he's the best in the business and that nobody's better than him.
So you gotta believe he's the best in the business.
So you gotta believe that he's the best in the business, and so then he tells himself that I'm the best, but I also want to retire because I've killed a lot of people. So then he goes to retire, and then he goes on this boat with his friend, who was also in like the same business that he was.
Yeah.
And he and his friend talk, and his friend basically tells him, "Hey, that last guy you killed wasn't who you thought he was.
Not the right guy, but not."
He wasn't a terrorist. It turns out he was a biochemical engineer or something. He was a scientist. And Will Smith's like, "Oh, damn, that sucks." And so then he leaves the boat, and he's basically being spied on by the government. And so then this dude who he works for this company called Gemini, and he basically says to one of the like head government ladies that's there, the other like major one, basically.
Right.
He basically tells her that he knows too much. I have to kill him. And then she's like, I'm not going to let you handle it. I'm going to handle it. And so then she sends guys after him, and then he basically like kills them all. And then he also, before that, he finds out that there's this woman who was like there working at like the fishing docks that he's retiring to. And then he finds out that she's like a spy who was sent to spy on him. And he's like, "I know you're a spy." And she's like, "Oh no." And then they just
You've
like
been burned. And then they're like
you've
best
been
friends.
burned. And then they're still friends, you know. They're still cool with each other after
Not
that.
still. Oh yeah, after I was about to say they weren't even like. Anyways, because I had a gripe with a little bit of that. But
I had a gripe with a lot of it. So then they have to go on the run, and then the guy, the main bad guy, who's the head of Gemini, goes to the woman and was like, "I told you that you couldn't do it, so now I'm gonna do it." And then she's like, "Okay, whatever." They go and meet up with Will Smith, and the lady go and meet up with his friend, who was also in the agency, who's like a pilot. And the pilot and him and the girl are basically like hanging out, and then like in the middle of the night or like in the morning, Will Smith wakes up and they like get attacked by someone, and that someone turns out to be a younger version of himself. And then after that, things happen, hilarity ensues, and hijinks take place.
Yeah, yes.
That's the summary.
Oh my god, yeah.
So yeah, what did you think of the movie, basically?
I think I got an hour through it and was like, "Dear God, tell me this ends in 20 minutes."
It drags.
It was so
It drags, and it's not even 2 hours long, I think, right?
I don't.
How long is it?
I don't know. I thought I put it at 2 hours. I just was like in my head, like I started at 8:40. I was like, it's gonna be done by 10:40. Like that's just. I remember I looked down at my phone and it was 9:50, and I just went fucking A.
It's an hour and 57 minutes.
Yeah, and that's
which, if you take out the credits, is shorter than that.
I think, right? Because they do the runtime as like the whole from start to beginning.
I'm pretty sure.
Or start to beginning, start to end.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's probably like realistically like 145 or something.
Dude, I mean, like it was at the catacombs. It was when they got to the catacombs, and I just went,
it's like
just end, please. And then like I realized because they have the thing in the catacombs happen, right? Will Smith dukes it out, and
Mm-hmm.
then they kind of change the guy's mind, or they get him to start questioning things.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, I was like, great, like we haven't even hit the third act.
My biggest problem with the movie is that they treat you like you're so stupid. They treat the audience like they're dumb because they have to explain everything. They have to explain how the character's feeling. They have to explain what the character's thinking, what people are doing while we're watching them do it.
Yeah.
The best example of this I can think of right now is when in the beginning Will Smith is like doing that one last job.
Yeah.
And right after it's done, he and his like kind of like his buddy in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
They have that conversation
not
where
like
it's
his
like
handler, but some guy that he worked for would hire him or
like
share information with.
Yeah, like a go between.
Yeah.
And they would talk back and forth about like, yep, you're the best. That's why you're the best. And Will Smith is like, yeah, I guess I am the best. And then he would like go to the head agent guy, and the head agent guy was like, Henry, you're the best that we've got. And Will Smith's like, sir, all these bodies that I've made have been piling up, and
yeah,
he's like, oh, you're gonna be hard to replace. You're the best. It's like, how many times can we be told that Will Smith is the best at what he does?
That it happens throughout the film. Like it is strewn in dialogue and conversation. Like he clones him, right? And he tells him, I'm cloning you because he's the best, and then you're gonna be the best. And it's just, I think at the end they talk about him being the best. He's like, well, I think I'm the second best now, or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
it's like they just keep hammering it over and over again into your skull.
So bizarre. I don't know, because like I'm watching, I was like, are they keep reminding us because like Will Smith's 51 that we might forget that he's the best? Like that we might like go like, oh man, like look how old Will Smith is, and then like they're like, all right, cue it up, tell him that he's the best again. So they go, you're the best.
It's just a case of the movie not trusting the audience to get what they're trying to show us. Because if they had just showed us the train scene and then that was that, right?
Yeah,
we would know that he's good at what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to go exactly. Like you don't have to be the best. Like, but I'm not gonna sit here in my head and think of who would kill Will Smith. Like I'm in it for Will Smith right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you just lay it on me one time that he's the best, or like we just see it and you go, you're really damn good at your job, right? Like we know that on a moving train. Like even me as an audience member, I was like, I know he's gonna kill the guy, but like, wow, like they really set that up.
And of course, the movie's PG-13, so you don't actually get to see the guy get popped. You see the beginning lead up, and then he takes the shot. You see the bullet hit the window, but you don't see anything like actually hit him.
Nope.
And then he's like, did I get him? And the guy was like, yeah, dude, I got a video of it. And he like shows the video of the aftermath.
Yeah.
Of like him getting shot, and it's just like him leaning with like a little bit of blood there.
So bad.
And it's like, okay, just make the movie. You know the movie's not going to make money, right? It's been in development hell for decades at this point. Why not just make it R? Nobody's going to see it.
Well, no. Because they went, if we make it R, we're only going to get 40%, and it's going to be from ages between 17 and 27, right?
Yeah.
If we go PG-13, we can get all the ages from probably 10-year-olds up until the 27-year-olds.
I'm curious as to what this movie made.
Dude,
in the box office.
I want to know how much it fucking costs.
So the budget is $138 million.
Yeah.
It made $173.5 million, so it was technically successful as far as box office.
Well, no, it's only successful on like what their numbers projected it for. Like
Yeah.
that's what I want to know. Like you guys made this at 100 and what was it, 38 million?
Okay. I guess it, even though they made over, it still is technically a box office bomb because
Box office bomb.
Like that's what Wikipedia is telling me. Yes,
like it bombed.
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, because those things are like you're supposed to make like 8 times what you're budgeted.
Yeah. I mean, not only with the budget, but you got to
to
consider like the marketing costs and things like that.
Yeah.
There's so much more cost that goes into a movie than people think, and so it's got to make a ton of money basically to make back what they put into it. Because like Blade Runner 2049, even though that's a great movie, that was a box office bomb because it cost so much to make.
Yeah.
And not that many people were
willing to go sit through like an almost 3 hour long like high concept sci-fi movie.
When you put it like that.
Know, not that this isn't high concept,
dude. So there are glaringly in the first 30 minutes of the film bad visual effects.
Mm-hmm.
And
the bike scene specifically comes to mind.
Well, I'm talking even like there's when he's talking with the dude. First off, he hands him a Coca-Cola, and then he goes, "I'm just gonna drink my Heineken," and I'm like product placement. Like, how are we gonna be this like fucking? Is it true like this? Film?
Let's have the Coke facing the camera.
Oh my god! Like he holds it like this, and then he tilts it, sets it, and I'm like, all right, like whatever. Then they're talking green screen in the house that they're in. Mm-hmm. So they had a cardboard cutout sitting down, and they couldn't afford the other half of the house, so they green screened it. Pretty bad, right? Yeah. And I'm like sitting there watching. I was like, this reminds me of someone doing a Zoom session. Like, then they go to the chick, and they have dinner green screen again. And I'm like, why is this film like? Why are these so bad? Like, they're in really nonchalant areas. Like,
well, yeah.
Where the fuck are they?
They're in areas that they could easily have actually shot in.
Yeah. And it's green screen. So, I mean, maybe because of I don't know. And then they get into, and then I see CGI Will Smith.
And
I'm like, oh, wow. They dumped all of their fucking money onto that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's even shitty.
Yeah. It's like, especially my biggest issue with it was the bike scene. The chase scene that they had. So that looked awful.
It's so funny, too, because I was 50-50 on it. Right? The first probably 40-50 seconds of that bike chasing, they got his stunt double on the bike, and he's crashing into cars, and he's like operating in these tiny streets. I was like, this is a pretty cool tracking shot. You know, like, all right, that's awesome. Like, I really like that they got cars hitting marks. This guy's going probably like 15 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, like crashing into things, right? And then he gets taken out by CGI Will Smith, and then it just goes to the other 50% that's shit.
Yep.
Like, just not even close. Like, looked really bad.
Well, it's like, so it's weird how much of an issue I have with both the daytime and the nighttime scenes. Because in the daytime scenes, it's really obvious that the CGI is bad.
Yeah.
But in the nighttime scenes, you can't see a damn thing that's happening. You can't right. tell what's going on. In the catacomb scenes, it's like, what is even happening? They're just climbing over each other, and then like she's pointing a gun at him, but she's not firing. She's just basically using it as a flashlight at that point.
Well, they had to make CGI Will Smith better.
They had to progress him into like a likable person, even though he's been raised pretty much at conception to be like this killer, this like assassin guy. Well, and the guy who raises him, the head of Gemini, like main bad guy in the movie, is like, you're my son to me. I love you. And it's like, okay, if you acted this way towards him throughout his entire life, up until that point of the movie, it should not have been that easy for him to like flip a switch and go like, oh, maybe you're not such a good dude after all.
You got so many. There's like some big philosophical questions that get pondered in this thing, or at least
this movie really makes you think.
Well, I mean, like, so I'm watching it, right? And one is you have so he is genetically created.
Yes.
Right?
He's a clone.
He's a clone. So they can't kill him, and they understand he's a person, right? Well, then at some point in the film, they kill another one, and it's a baby, right? And their hearts get ripped out. So, like, it's kind of funny as an audience member, because I mean, I'm looking at it maybe going,
baby.
It was a 13-year-old Will Smith.
The 13-year-old. Are you talking about the one in like the suit at the end?
Yeah.
Was he supposed to be 13?
He was like 15. Like
he looked like he was supposed to be the same age as the other one.
No, that's why they were like he was younger. Like, because he kept saying like he's making an army.
Right.
And I don't know, they didn't all pop out at the same time, so they probably had like a little test run, and then version 2 came out.
Yeah.
You know,
that was version 3, and it was obviously like, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
He wasn't. I don't think he.
It wasn't like a person. It was more like a shell of a person.
Yeah. Well, he's making. Well, that's when he started getting into like, I'm making an army of you. Like, this was the first one, and I want to see how it goes, right? And then past that, he's like, I'm gonna create millions of you. Which, so I don't know where I'm at as a person either, because like Clive Owen goes through and he's making all these points about genetically creating someone, right? Using them in battle, okay? And you get the Will Smith aspect of this is a person, these are people, even though they're genetically created and raised by, a computer, they're still people. And then you got Clive Owen's aspect of I can take everyone that's in the army now and get them out of the army and use these super soldiers in the army.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, okay, that's not like, maybe I am wrong here, because I mean you did create a person, but like when you talk about the mold of the person, it's not really like someone created them. It's just they came out of a test tube.
I guarantee, So I got to thinking about that too, and my thought was that if he wasn't trying to kill old Will Smith, then there probably wouldn't be an issue, right? With like the whole conflict.
Oh yeah, no, it's a human interest story for sure. It's all about the second Will's. He's almost a hero in the film,
right? But so old Will Smith, because he's he's had like assassination attempts on him from Clive Owen,
right?
And if that hadn't happened, and if Will Smith still found out that there was another version of him running around, and they cloned him,
yeah,
to make multiple fighters out of it, he probably would have been okay, that's weird, but at least you didn't try to kill me. The fact that they just tried to kill him made him pissed off at them.
That's what sparked the whole. I mean,
yes,
it is an
inciting. It is what sparked the whole thing.
Action, yeah. I don't know I agree. I mean,
It's not like he was going about his day and then he all of a sudden happened upon a version of him and then was like, oh no, I got to put a stop to this. It was they literally tried to kill him.
Yeah,
and that's the only reason why.
Well, and yeah, I don't, because then he's trying to help the.
Then he's kind of trying to help the kid.
It's so bizarre, dude. Because fucking A. If I ran into a version of me, and did all that, I don't know if I'd sit down and be like, all right, I'm gonna take him in and raise him.
He's my son now.
The really bizarre ending of the film is that they're in college and he's talking to him like he's his child, and I was like. I just think in my head, where the fuck are we at with,
It's my guy.
Oh, my God, dude. No,
you're raising yourself as your own kid.
He's doing it.
And you only met him when he was, 23.
Yeah. And it's and they're treating him like you were going to treat him like he's a person. But I wouldn't have, I don't know. I can't, I just have a hard time with the whole cloning aspect of it, and I get certain points.
Well, I was laughing at that scene. So in the end, when they're all in the store, right, and they're all standing there, and it's kind of dying down, and Clive Owen's there, and young Will Smith is about to shoot him because he feels so hurt and betrayed that he would do this, and he didn't know that he was a clone or whatever. He's like, I'm gonna shoot you, I'm gonna kill you right now, and then old Will Smith steps in and he takes the gun and he's like, no, don't do this, kid.
Yeah.
You don't want all these ghosts. And he takes the gun from him. He waits a second, points the gun at Clive Owen, and then shoots him himself. It's dude, you just gave this whole speech about how you shouldn't kill someone because it makes a ghost out of them and it haunts you for the rest of your life. And then you just fucking do it right in front of him.
He did it so that the kid didn't have, he doesn't.
I know why he did it. I just found it funny because he waited a second and he's like, okay, and then kills him.
I'll do it.
Yeah. I don't think that scene was meant to be funny, but I was laughing.
Oh my God. So we talked about on one of these things was the hero's journey. The conflict with the father is one of the simplest ways to insert, and make a hero's journey. Because what were you saying? You gotta overcome those things with the father figure, right? So that's this whole movie, right? And then I thought it would really have been good writing, or maybe just on me, if Will Smith, instead of doing it so that kid isn't burdened, pretty much goes into, I did this to my father, and that's why I am the way I am. So I'm protecting you from being that person that I have become. Mm-hmm. And then, no, it's just, don't do it, kid. You've got a lot to live for. You don't need
kid, you're better than this.
Well, it was if he does it Clive Owen in some weird way, maybe would have made that version of Will Smith actually into the leader that he wanted. Maybe Clive Owen knew he was going to be a sacrificial lamb to finally push him past that point to make him the leader of his clone army. Such a fucking bizarre movie.
It's a backwards way of thinking about it, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is why I like action films, because I drift off, and when you get to these scenes in these movies, if I'm not invested, I'm doing it in my head of like, what would have made it better? What would have made it more sense? Like, and there's so many backdrop. Like, I don't know. I don't know. There's like 4 philosophical things that were popping up, like the hero's journey one. Because I'd almost say that the younger Will Smith is the hero of the film. I mean, it's almost his path. Like, the older Will Smith does nothing.
Yeah, he does. He does nothing, but it's like most of the movie focuses on him, but then they try to like kind of shoehorn in like the young Will Smith perspective after he's introduced like 35 minutes into the movie, basically. And so you find out he exists, and it's like, oh, now we have to follow him because he has his own story, and he was raised from a lab, and he doesn't know it.
What's Will Smith's story besides staying alive?
The original Will Smith?
Yeah.
His story is that he's the best at what he does, and that nobody is as good as him.
That's what I'm fucking saying. Like, what? Dude, yeah, he's the best, and it's just, I gotta stay alive. Like, that's it. Like, if you took out the genetic Will Smith and just made it an assassin that was trying to be better than him.
Yeah.
And that movie, how does that movie end?
Well, the Gemini Man aspect of it wouldn't matter then, because the whole point of it is that it's his younger version.
Yeah.
So you gotta like, oh, it's so cool because he's fighting his younger self. It's so cool. Look at how good young Will Smith looks. He's so good.
He didn't even look all that. I'm like, they had to green screen a fucking dock scene for this.
Dude, so some of the scenes with young Will Smith, I was like, okay, I can like kind of suspend my disbelief for like these moments.
Of course.
And then it gets to the third Will Smith, the youngest Will Smith, and it's like, okay, that just straight up looks like a PS4 video game cutscene right there. It just looks like a render.
Yeah.
At that point, like he takes the helmet off, and you can see the like CGI ears move around in his like face, and it's like, they clearly did not spend enough time on that guy compared to the other Will Smith.
I guarantee you, they got into this thing and like said like, all right, we'll spend $65 million on this, right? Like, half the budget had to have gone to that. Mm-hmm. Not saying it did, but like, and I think they got to that point where they're like, all right, we're already past what we said we were going to do. Like, just tie it up and knock it out. Right?
What did you think of them just killing off his pilot friend like that when the car blows up?
I was so checked out of this fucking film, dude. I thought CGI Will Smith got killed. I didn't see who jumped out of the car. It's like Clive Owen goes, run, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm trying to, and then I was like, oh man, maybe they're adding in like. For me, I was like, I hope they're adding an extra layer and Clive Owen's the puppet to some greater force here.
Clive Owen actually isn't the bad guy.
Yeah, like we've just been like, he's been comically bad, but like maybe he's been just playing the puppet to someone that's bigger than him.
The movie's not that layered. It's not that layered.
So he goes that, and then they all jump. Like, really, like, so that, in fairness to me, I didn't have enough time to process what was going on because I was trying to think like, oh man, like how sweet would that be? And then just an RPG pops up and blows up the van. So I saw like bodies jump out, and I was like, oh, maybe CGI Will Smith didn't make it. I was like, that would be cool. Then it turns into Will Smith having to kill Clive Owen so he doesn't make this army now, rather than the whole fucking hero's journey with the father. But no, they just have to kill fucking Wong from Marvel.
Yeah.
And like,
Wong just got capped, and you don't even. He just disappears basically. It's like it's like he just ran away.
Doctor Strange popped up and it was just like, hey, you're out. And he's like, thank Christ. Figure it out, guys. Because I almost would be inclined to rewatch that and see if he did jump out, and because of like casting time, they had to write him out. Like, I
fully expected his character to like secretly survive and then come back and be like
in the arm sling.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, I'm alive too, and he like walks into the shop and they're like all a family. Sadly, that didn't happen.
No, the funniest. So there are two things. One was a gripe and one was like a funny thought. My gripe was, and I don't know if you can tell me about this. So he's on the dock. Okay, it's really early in the film, and he goes to get gas.
Yeah.
Did you pay attention to any of this? He goes to get gas, and he says, "Hey, you're in for so and so."
With the girl at the checkout.
But that's not my issue. My issue is that he goes up, he has a little talk, and he goes, "Well, I filled up," and she goes, "Yep, that's gonna be $23.46
for a boat
for the gas."
And
he hands her $1 bill. Not a one, but like a single, like a cash. So it had to have been a 50. So then she's fumbling through fucking money because now I'm actually looking at the money, trying to be like, are those ones or fives? Is she really going to hand them? And I'm trying to do the math, and I was like, it's $26.54. So that's a lot of fucking a $20 bill, a $5 bill, a $1 bill, and fucking quarters and pennies and shit, right? Literally just like goes like, oh, here you go. No, and like she grabs some change and dumps it in his like, and then I'm like, why the fuck did you make it $23.46? Why not just make it $20 or $25?
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares? Like needlessly, like
he couldn't fill his boat up an even number to avoid that whole situation.
Not him, the writer writing the fucking thing. Just write down, hey, it's $25, and then he can hand her a 20 and a 5, and there's no change needed because now they're going and talking while she's fumbling through change. So even in the film itself, as a director, he's got to put up with her fumbling through fucking dollar bills and change while doing dialogue to make up for this guy that wrote $23.46. Like that's as soon as that happened in that film, I was like, I don't know how many times this happens in movies, but like to be that fucking needlessly descriptive of an event, I was like, they've spent way too much time on the wrong shit. Like, hey, that's $20. Oh, here you go. Hand her a bill, no change, dialogue goes. They do a pan out so they can show you that she's actually going through the money and gonna pay him back. And I was like, why? Why are you doing this? I don't know. It bugged the fuck out of me. It really did. Like I saw that shit and I was like, this is so dumb. This is so. Because now
it's a good representation of the whole movie.
Oh my god, just not even paying attention to what was important. Just hey, here you go. Like how writing doesn't impact anything. Like we'll just make it really cool. So
which they didn't even do that.
No, it just so that catacomb scene, dude. Like it got there and I was just like, oh, please, someone kill someone. Like, make this movie go in a different direction than what we're thinking. Because, like, like, the whole thing is, like, as soon as they introduced him in that first fight in Italy or whatever on the bikes, I was like, great. Like,
they're going to team up.
Yeah. Like, that's what I didn't want. I really wanted it to be, like, Gemini Man, a guy from the future. Like, honestly, this is how I thought about it. Because I just heard it, like, was all right. I thought it was someone from the future was coming back to kill Will Smith because he's the best at what he does.
You thought it was gonna be like kind of a looper.
Yeah, and that they and for, and then they'd probably pair up or they'd meet at some point and figure out, we need to work together, right? Not this.
No.
So I got the catacomb scene. I was like, someone please kill someone, go a different direction.
Someone please kill me.
And then. Dude, it's 9:50. I was like, I've been watching this for an hour, and I was like, I'm so ready. I don't know what's going on. Not that I didn't, but someone asked me like, what's happening. I was like, I don't know, and I go, it's not because it's complicated. It's because I'm so checked out.
So what I feel like I need to bring up the bee venom, right? I got to bring up the bee venom because it was the most lazy foreshadowing ever. You could see it coming from a mile away.
Hey, why'd you kill that bee? Allergic to them and drowning.
I'm deathly allergic to bee venom. And it's like, so he says that, and then he meets his young version of himself. And he like goes over the list of like all the things that he knows about him because he's him. And so then he's like, I know you're like this, I know you're like that. And he's like, I know you're allergic to bee venom. And like he makes it a point to like emphasize it to the audience, like, hey, just in case you forgot, I'm allergic to bee venom. And then in the scene later when young Will Smith like kind of gets the jump on him and he shoots him with a dart.
Yeah.
And they simply just look at him and they go, what was in that? And he goes, bee venom.
Oh my god, I'm so right.
It was the most anticlimactic thing
I didn't know what was going on. Like, I don't know. For me, like, am I supposed to be panicked here? Like, they're on the same team. Like, he just shot him, and I was like, so
they built up that bee venom thing so much, and then they're like, what was that? Bee venom.
So,
oh no, you shouldn't have done that. Oh yeah. Oh, I just wanted to see if you guys were legit. And they're like, oh, he's dying, and he's like, oh, I got the antidote. And then he like shoots him with the epinephrine, and then he goes, epinephrine, as if we didn't know what that was.
Oh my god, yes, I was so checked. Yes, I was so checked out at this. So what I do in films like this is that when we get to those points, because they're so cut and paste, take a step forward. I go through and try to, like in my head, like, all right, what would be different? What would make this more cool? Like, what if he really did kill Will Smith? Do you ever do that? So like you're watching it and he shoots him, and it's obviously like, you go, oh yep, there's a bee venom, and then like he's like dying. And they're like, oh man, what if they kill him off? Like, where would they go? Do they team up with them? Is he a good guy? Like, what if he accidentally did it and then he just wasn't sure? Like, now we have Will Smith here. He's the best. Are we gonna make him a good best? What's going on? Would he kill them? No, epinephrine saved life.
They have to announce what they're doing every time they do something. Epinephrine. It's a gun. It's okay.
Remember for your 12th birthday, I took you here, and then we would do this, and then I had that, and it's just fucking exposition. Fucking stupid.
Oh my gosh. All right. Should we?
Well, my last funny thought with it, and I was sitting there and I started really laughing with my buddy. So I kind of felt bad for all the actors in this because there is so much dialogue with a CGI person. So Will Smith has to talk to a guy in a green suit, and portray emotions. The chick has to strip down in front of a dude in a green suit to show she isn't wired. The ending, and I just started dying laughing. He's walking with college friends, and they're all laughing and have to act like they're having a good time. And I'm like, he's a fucking guy.
He's in all this like mocap shit
in a green suit, like, and they're all like, "Hey,
yeah."
And then I looked at my buddy, and I was like, I just started dying laughing. I was like, CGI, they're amongst us. I was like, wouldn't it be so funny if, like, I was walking and just talking to nothing, and you're like, who are you talking to, Mac? It's like, oh, this is CGI Kyle. And you're like, where?
Oh my gosh.
So dumb. Yeah, so I felt like the whole film, I was getting a kick out of, like, thinking about Will Smith, like, behind, like, in the camera, like, talking to someone in a green suit and having to be like, you motherfucker. And having to like start crying. So
there's that whole scene where the young one is shouting, I'm not you, and he's like, I think it was after the catacomb scene, right?
It was close. Like, it was somewhere.
It was like somewhere around there where he like runs away.
Yeah.
Dude, the acting in this movie all around was just not good. It was so bad.
Oh, Will Smith doesn't have a lick of personality or charisma.
It was like Will Smith, like, generally he's like a charismatic dude. He's like a decent actor, right?
Can make you laugh.
He can pull you in.
Yes.
Especially like a lot of his earlier stuff. This movie, I don't know what happened. I think just the script just and the direction just bogged him down to the point where he felt like a hollow husk of a person.
He was in there. He's been around for a while, so he probably got to, I don't know, the 15th month of them making this thing. Like,
yeah,
like what the fuck are we doing?
Like, not only was he bad, I feel like pretty much everyone was bad.
No one wanted to be associated with that film. After he gets into the thing, and about the coolest thing or the most charming thing he does is like smiles at you and then tells you why he knows what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, that's about the closest I ever feel. Like, he doesn't make a joke. There's nothing funny. The very end of it is supposed to be really lighthearted humor. I'm like, this sucks because this is creepy.
Are we just going to pretend that you didn't shoot that guy in the face that was basically his dad the entire time?
Not only that, but like, I'm you, but I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. And I'm like,
so I'm gonna raise you now.
And I'm like, it's him. Like, where the fuck are we at? I don't know. I'm like, where are we at with this thing? Like, I'm so saving weird. You because you're a real person,
it's
but
so
not
weird.
Only that, like, all right, but you're me, and I don't want you to do the same things I did. And I'm like,
I think you should take engineering, I think I'm going to take engineering. It's like, oh, I don't think you should do that. I wouldn't do that, and I'm you. And it's like, you're not me, I'm me. It's like, ha, son. It's like, what?
Oh my god, it was like right there. So the chick sucked in it.
Dude, the worst one was the guy on the boat. The guy with like the stereotypical like yacht bro with like he's older and he's got like his white shirt that's like buttoned down all the way to the last button, so his chest is just out and his hair is just flowing in the breeze.
Really feeling yourself, aren't you, Jack? And it's feeling sexy. He said something along those lines.
He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, yeah. Will Smith's like, where's the wife? And he's like, in Paris. And then like this hot model like comes out and Will Smith's like, and I'm like, ha, cheating on your spouse. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's what I was like too. I go, that's what I'm saying. Like, all right, so he shows up like, hey, where's your wife? Like, oh, hey, we divorced 7 years ago. She walks out, not doing too bad. Am I right? How easy is that? Like, why do you have to have adultery in here when you could just simply not write it?
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't add to who this guy is, does it?
Forced edginess, I guess. Something.
Forced edgy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got the writer's mind. I don't have. Like, like in real life, like
it was such a stereotypical yacht bro too. He's like retired and he's got his button down like shirt.
One purpose.
Yeah.
One fucking purpose.
He's got like the hot blonde on there.
Yeah. So dumb.
Who's like half his age, and he's like, oh, not bad, huh?
It's like, oh, well, that's how it was when you were in CIA too, because I think the DIA, Department of Internal Affairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, if I remember right, you're the same way then that you are now.
Good to see you too, Henry.
Like, why do we need this? Why do we?
It's like, bro, this dialogue, this acting, this.
That guy literally could have been he could have been a science nerd that just wanted to get out and do private, and just called Will Smith up there and was like, I'm gonna protect you. I'm saving your life at the risk. So dumb shit, dumb fucking shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yes. Well, and then, dude, so then he has a relationship with the girl. Okay, that he takes her on the date, which that was weird because it's like, I'm just going to get you out here only to tell you that you're burned and prove that you're burned. But now we'll work together. And then, literally that fucking night, attacked, right? Calls her, says like, do you know anything about this? Blah, 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 blah. All right, now I know you, are you for sure? She goes, no, if I did, I would have told you. And I'm like, you have only known him for 30 minutes, and he just fucking cost you your job. You were burned. Like, I don't think the FBI or CIA is going to take lightly to the fact that you suck at what you're doing.
Right.
Right? No, I would have told you. Why? What do you gain out of fucking calling Will Smith going, you're going to get killed? Like, the date went that well.
Right.
He literally showed up.
You're going to save him? Even if you knew he was going to be in danger?
He showed up to the date and handed her her identity and was like, know where you live, know how to get all your personal information, here you go. And she's like, oh, man, you're awesome.
She's like, oh, you got me.
Yeah. Damn, guess I am burned.
I guess I goofed.
Hey, you want to be friends?
Yeah.
Fucking.
We'll be thick as thieves throughout the whole movie now.
Yeah, and then we got to make sure that no one thinks that we're actually like doing it.
Yeah. Because it's PG-13.
Of course. Like, we can't. Well, not only that, but I'm like, she goes, I'm in college, and Will Smith's 51. So, like, I don't know. Maybe I haven't gotten there yet, but, like, all right, 30 years you're younger, like, telling you she's in college. Like, I don't know. Do we really need to have that in the film as a guy that's chasing tail to get the 22-year-old? Like, we could maybe make her, like, 33 or something, you know?
Right.
Just a little bit. So I was like, that's kind of creepy on Will Smith's end, you know, and on her end but then you figure out, you know, it's not for that. So I didn't have as much grievance, but
the playing it safe and over explaining the movie is basically what I would retitle it as.
Oh, they had to have gotten to it. Agreed. They got to the, they got to a point. It was just a sunk cost, and they just said, all right, how do we make sure that we don't confuse people?
Let's just get it out there, and get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off, and hope that people forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't forgot about it. Forgot about it.
Well, and we do these things to the film. I gotta ask too. Did you find anything that you liked or redeemable?
Honestly, I don't really think so.
Wow.
No, I don't think I did.
Nothing.
I honestly can't. I gave it. So, do you want me to tell you what I rated it?
Yeah, because we're gonna do it. I mean, I think at the end of these films we gotta say
at the end.
And I'll tell you mine too. And
right.
Go on.
So I gave it a 2.
Okay.
A 2 out of 10. I honestly might bump it down to a 1 because I right now can't think of anything about it that I thought was good.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I gotta ask.
Even the music was bad. No. I'd probably say a 1.
A 1.
Yeah, a 1 out of 10.
Yeah, there wasn't. So and I'm a lot more open-minded with movies now than I was before. But I got through, like I said, an hour of this, and it was just like, I don't know, this driving me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that, like, pondering questions in my head about what was going on with the film. So I thought that was kind of cool with that aspect of what they proposed. Now, everything they filled it in with was shit. And then the one thing I did like about it was the motorcycle scene. As to say I'll remember it or it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen, no. It was just a good scene in a really bad movie. Not half of it, which sucks too, because it was the first half with the tracking shot going through the alleys, bumping into cars. I was like, that takes a lot to get right on one take to get all these cars to their points and have a guy, even though he's going 15. But for me, on my IMDb scale, I don't drop. 3's the lowest I give a film. 3's the
Interesting.
lowest. So, like, that's my, like...
You think there'll ever be a 2 or a 1 out of 10 one day?
Potentially. Like, it
okay,
would
so
have
you're not excluding it.
3, if I give you a 3 on IMDb, like, did not enjoy myself. Took way too long. Right? Nothing really memorable about what I saw, and it didn't make me think. Now, this one, teetering between 3 and 4.
Okay.
So
that sounds about right.
Only because there's a couple things. Like, I could talk about this film with other individuals too, outside yourself, and still be able to actually hold a conversation.
Yeah. No, I couldn't find anything redeeming about it. Now, especially now that I'm like forced to like think back on it, giving it like a couple days to sit.
Yeah.
I don't think I cannot conjure anything positive to say. Okay. So that was Gemini Man. Boy, oh boy. I would say watch it, but honestly, don't. Don't waste your time. Just give it a pass. Just listen to us talk about it, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm glad that I'm actually happy that I got to see it. You know,
I'm glad we could talk about it.
Yeah,
at least
they had a lot of stuff that we got to talk about. But yeah, in terms of like if you're doing it to just put Will Smith into your, memory bank of movies and you like it, I mean, I don't know if I'd say check this one out. Just wasn't a whole lot behind it for me.
Now, the last part of the podcast, you get to make a film recommendation or a film pick, as we started calling it, I guess.
Yes. So I wanted to watch another movie that neither of us have seen, because I think that's the most enjoyable.
Okay.
Is being able to go through and essentially talk about movies that, like I've got no thoughts on, and I think you get the most genuine types of conversation going, unless you hit something that you really appreciate and just want to hear the other one's opinions on, which I'll probably have to make a list of that too. I'd have to go through and okay, I got a film.
All right. What's the pick?
Chopper.
Chopper.
Okay. 2000. It's a 2000 film. I've been meaning to see this one for a while. Do you want me to read you the?
Well, tell me who's like the director and who stars in it.
So it's from 2000. The director is Andrew Dominic.
Okay.
Oh, I actually think he directed Killing Them Softly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I had some opinions about that movie. So I'm curious.
That might be something that Chopper. We could talk about Chopper and Killing Them Softly. Eric Bana is the titular character.
Okay.
And it is tells an intense story of Mark Chopper Reed, a legendary criminal who wrote his autobiography while serving a jail sentence in prison.
Oh, okay. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I'm excited to check it out.
I've been meaning to see this one for a while, and now that I know that you can pay for movies on YouTube, I'm trying to make this giant list. So, for both of us actually to talk about. So there you go.
Cool. So if you want to watch Chopper before we talk about it on the next episode, check that out so you won't be spoiled for it. You can find us on YouTube, the Neon Crew Podcast, and Spotify under the same name. And check us out on Facebook and all of our socials where you can find us.
Twitter coming soon.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening, everybody.
Hey, thanks, guys. Remember, WWTHD.
What would Tom Hardy do? Bye-bye.